You recall that's the report
Oh, yes.
dated 20 Jan 2025, which you submitted to the minister on 22 Jan
Correct.
2025. Yes. You had read the first paragraph first unnumbered paragraph under paragraph 311. Then if I can ask you to proceed from the next unnumbered paragraph, the directive by the minister.
The directive by the Minister of Police to disband the National Task Team has been noted. The initial objective and directive by the President has been achieved with noticeable decrease in political killings in KwaZulu-Natal. As a result, the task team's intervention and relentless pursuit of its mandate. South African Police Service remains responsible for finalization of those dockets in possession of the task team, as well as finalization of dockets which are currently before court. The following steps are being taken to wind down the task team without compromising pending investigations or court processes. Stakeholder engagement to be conducted with other external role players in the task team, especially the NPA, who have dedicated capacity of prosecutors working with the team. The 128 case dockets, which are under investigation and allocated to the task team, will be retained by the task team and investigations will be finalized. An audit will be done of those dockets still under investigation in order to establish which dockets can be returned to station of origin or allocated to other investigating units within SAPS. No new dockets will be taken by or allocated to the task team. The 115 case dockets, which are currently pending at courts, be retained by the task team until their finalization in order to avoid challenges during court processes which may result in charges being withdrawn against some of the accused, leading to unnecessary civil claims. These possible challenges might include unsuccessful prosecution as a result of new investigating officers not familiar with evidence in the dockets, witnesses not willing to cooperate and testify due to lack of trust to new investigators, further investigation still outstanding and attending to prosecutors' queries will be negatively affected. The current capacity of the task team will be gradually scaled down to only personnel who are required to finalize dockets retained by the task team. The scaling down of the team will depend on the 115 case dockets that are currently pending at courts, with most of the court days in year 2025. It is anticipated that the team will complete the work before the end of the year 2025. However, the seriousness of the cases and the processes at court will indicate the course of action.
Now, can I ask you to stop there? In respect of no new dockets, we will deal with that issue at a subsequent meeting that you had with the minister in March. I just want to ask you about the part that you've just read there, that it is anticipated that the team will complete the work before end of the year 2025. Then what follows thereafter, however, the seriousness of the cases and the processes at court will indicate the course of action. What did you intend to communicate to the minister by that?
What I was indicating there is that
So National Commissioner, having regard to the fact that the minister's instruction was to disband immediately.
Yes, what I was indicating there is that despite him saying we must disband immediately, the cases will dictate how long the task team is going to be there, meaning that as long as there are cases that are rolling, the task team will still be in existence dealing with the cases.
And then you can just deal with the last paragraph in that conclusion.
The multidisciplinary investigative approach, in bracket, analysis-led and prosecutor-guided investigation applied by the task team will be adopted and used to serve as a benchmark for the realignment of contract killings and organized crime investigation. Further directives will be issued in this regard. Progress will be reported, dated 22nd of January, 2025, signed off by myself, and may commence for the Minister of Police.
Okay. If I can then ask you to turn back to your statement.
Oh, please, before that, Mr. Mutau, talk has always been about 121 dockets, General. Can you please explain the difference between the 128 dockets that you referred to at page 407 of this annexure, small Roman 2, and you also refer to that same number, that is 128, at paragraph 131(2) of your statement at page 40. Just that 7 docket difference. It was 121 by the time the dockets were taken to head office. But at the stage you made this report, it was 128. Had the 7 been finalized, or what had since happened to them?
Yeah, what happens, Commissioner, is that they get finalized at court and they reduce in number as time goes on.
My question, General, is do they include the Fort Hare dockets and the traditional leaders killings dockets, or were this only political killings specific in your 128?
Yeah, it does include all the dockets. It includes all of them.
Mr. Mdau, before you move on, you're referring now to the statement. I think you're going back to the statement. So I take it you have finished with this report. All right. Maybe then let's look at page, General, if you would look at page of that report. So, pardon me, somehow my desk is not working out this morning. At page 392, you have 3.6, the heading cases highlighted by critics of the task team. And you start off there, which is why I want to explore this further with you. The opening paragraph there is, the following cases have been referred to in letters written to the minister in which accusations have been leveled against the task team. Now, and then you've got 3.61, a case number involving local municipal councillor P. Ndlovu. You have 3.62, relates to ANC candidate councillor Mkhize and his friend Nyanga. And then you have 3.6.3, which I don't see. And then you've got 3.64 relating to the murder of Sindiso Magaka. And then you've got 3.66 or 65, it's a Margate case. And then you've got 366. Now, on reading these paragraphs here, it's not clear what is the criticism in respect of any one of these cases. It doesn't set out. It just gives you a summary what the case is about. And insofar as this may be among the factors, and we'll still hear from the minister, insofar as these may be factors that the minister took into account in his decision, then I think it is important that we get an explanation or greater detail of what these cases are about. But if it is matters that you say General Khumalo will speak to, I'm happy to leave it at that. But as it stands now, it's not clear, at least to me, what is the criticism about these cases?
Thanks, Commissioner. Well, Khumalo will dwell more into it, but I'm aware that what it means is that there were letters written either to myself, National Commissioner. For example, the first case, AfriForum did write a letter complaining about the investigation of the specific case on 361, Bupumeni case, the matter of a DA, Umgeni local municipality councillor, Mr. Ndlovu. So they were complaining that they don't get feedback. So each case have got its explanation. So it has been raised not only by one person, this case was raised by AfriForum. The other ones, they have got parties that raised them, where in this case, they were saying they were not getting briefing from the political killings task team, and they think the team don't know what they are doing, they are on the wrong course, they need to be briefed. So in that regard, we couldn't really go out and brief AfriForum on everything because we knew what we were doing, and we were aware that AfriForum has been contracted by Umgeni municipality to also do private investigation on the matter. So we couldn't every time we collect information and then go and give them. We have a direct link with the widow of the Councillor Ndlovu. If ever we have to go and give her feedback, we will be able to do so. And if we have to give the money, so, but yes, there were such complaints.
Is a difference, though, General, between complaints and accusations, and the heading here is accusations. So if what you're saying is all of them that you've listed here, all 6 or
they are not getting feedback, and this unit, PKTT, is useless, is not competent, and so on. So we couldn't really get to their level to argue those points because we knew what we were doing. And eventually, we did make arrests in this case. We arrested a number of people, I think, including an Nkosi, in that regard. So there are people that are before court currently on that same matter. There was an Induna arrested, there was later an Nkosi arrested for that matter. So, but yes, there were such complaints.
Is a difference, though, General, between complaints and accusations, and the heading here is accusations. So if what you're saying is all of them that you've listed here, all 6 or 7 of them, were of similar complaints, that the people were not getting report backs, they were not getting updates, then that's fine, it's clarified, if that's the case in all of them. But you've got one, for example, in 3.6.3, it's about Sergeant Dlamini and 4 others. Is it a similar kind of complaint where you say accusation? In fact, you should have said complaint. Dlamini, you'll find a 393. I know Mr. Matawi had said you'd speak more to it. I don't know if you're still getting there, but I want to be sure that we understand when you say accusations, it suggests that there may be allegations of wrongdoing. At least that's what the heading suggested to me in the first paragraph. And when I read the body of it, there was no allegations of wrongdoing by the task team, and I think it's important that you clarify that.
Yeah, it differs from case to case, Commissioner. In that regard, in Sergeant Lamini, for example, there was a complaint that he has been arrested for nothing. He was part of the task team, and he did wrong things, and he was caught up by his own colleagues and arrested. He has been convicted as we speak now, and he's awaiting sentencing. But I think at the end of his trial, then he raised the matter that the magistrate must recuse himself at the end of the trial after conviction. So that is being dealt by the courts currently. So the complaint there was that he was denied bail and is inside and with others. He wasn't alone, and they are still awaiting trial, the others, and so the complaint was he's just denied bail for no reason. And so nobody can be denied bail and be inside for no reason. So eventually, as we speak, he has been convicted. He's awaiting sentencing. So those were the complaints coming from various people on him.
Thank you, General. Mr. Mtawi, you've heard my concern.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. General, you indicated that General Khumalo is going to deal deeper with these issues, and you've provided your explanation in terms of the questions that were posed. And if I can just ask you to go back then to your statement, because you dealt with this issue in part from paragraph 119 to 121. To deal with that so that we can close that issue and move on to another aspect.
1192
121.
or to 121.
You dealt with it yesterday regarding the minister contacting you. Oh, sorry, you contacting the minister to request audience.
Okay, yes, during that week, although I do not recall the exact date, I contacted the minister via mobile to request an audience. I informed him of the importance of providing initial briefing regarding the establishment and activities of the PKTT. The minister indicated his willingness to schedule time for this discussion. Paragraph 120, at the same time, there were adverse media reports pertaining to crime intelligence. The minister subsequently called me to express his intention to appoint a senior counsel to investigate various issues highlighted by the media, including the appointment of Brigadier Lekhalanyane, Brigadier Mokwele, the security clearance of Lieutenant General Dimsani Khumalo, and the murder of Sindiso Makata. I assured him that detailed information on these topics was readily available to him, and reiterated my previous request to brief him on intelligence and the PKTT. The minister agreed to attend a briefing on the afternoon of the 16th. So in short, what I'm explaining there is that these matters were that time in the media, and I asked him that, because he says he was concerned, he wanted to appoint a senior counsel to investigate these matters. What I said to him was, well, the information is yours and is available to you. If you choose to go and appoint a counsel to buy it, It's up to you, but it's readily available to you, and you can get it for free. And he asked, does that include Cindy Makaka's matter? I said, yes, indeed. It's one of those matters that we said we want to brief you on, because what you see in the media, you know more about what happened to Cindy Makaka. It is exactly because of the PTT that investigated the matter. The matter happened long before Dumisani Khumalo joined crime intelligence. He investigated, he arrested people on this. Currently, we know there are various witnesses that for this specific case. So it's a case that is unearthed by us. So you can't say, for example, you always hear out there that the firearm and the vehicle that killed Cindy Makaka was come from crime intelligence. Yes, indeed so, but the reason why you know that is because of the PKTT that investigated the matter. Most people think that this happened now during when General Dumisani Khumalo was in CI. It's false. No, it's not like that. Happened before him. Upon him assuming the duties as divisional commissioner while he was at the PKTT, he investigated this matter and they unearthed it and they made arrest. Hence, there are some people. There is a hitman that has been convicted. The case is not yet finalized; it's still continuing. So, I told him that that's how these matters came to light. So, make time. Let's brief you but it's for him. If he wants to get a counsel to investigate, it's up to him. On paragraph 121.
Sorry, before you get there, at the time when the minister called you, as you say in paragraph 120, in relation to the sequence of events, was this before the minister took a decision that the task team be disbanded immediately, or is this after the decision had already been taken?
Well, that time, the decision was already taken. The letter or the directive was already issued 31st of January 2024. So these discussions were somewhere around 14, 15.
You mean December, General?
Oh, yeah, December 2024, yes. And these discussions were somewhere in 14, 15 January 2025.
So the minister will tell the commission if these facts that arose after the decision, after his letter, were relevant considerations that he took into account when he gave that directive. But let's leave that for the minister to explain.
Thank you, Commissioner.
If you go to 121 then, are you about to deal with that?
On that day, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo and I briefed the minister with a thorough update on the aforementioned matters, as well as ongoing counterintelligence investigations, and reminded the minister that a briefing on the PKTT should still be held. The briefing included an identified syndicate with significant influence and/or connections, particularly and/or within law enforcement and the criminal justice system. The report included identifying senior SAPS officers who were associated with criminal syndicates and/or advancing or protecting interests of the Big Five within the law enforcement and criminal justice system.
Perhaps if we could stop there, because that should be sufficient for purposes of the issues that had been raised. And what follows here, we know you dealt with it also yesterday, but it introduces or deals with an issue that you thoroughly covered yesterday. So the purpose of referring you to those paragraphs, it was to deal with the interactions between yourself and the minister with reference to the complaints that had been raised, which you refer to in that report. So if I can ask you then to turn to paragraph 129, where you start.
Maybe before that, Commissioner.
Yes.
Yeah, just to say, during that briefing, the PKTT the briefing wasn't done. It was just agreed. The minister said, as you know, the report is due on the 20th, so we'll discuss it later in the future. So it wasn't discussed in that meeting of the 16th. Thank you, Commissioner.
So that's why you're saying to the minister there in 121, I thought that's the point you had made. You reminded the minister that a briefing on the PKTT should still be held.
Thanks, Commissioner.
And you're saying it's because it didn't occur in that meeting of 16 January.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Yes, if I can then ask you to turn to paragraph 129. This is after you've referred to this report, SFM 11, and you set out your comments in relation thereto. So if I can ask you to start at 129.
The report set out in detail the success of the PKTT, its strength as well as the criticism level against it, which are unfounded. The report also highlights the PKTT successes such as successful arrests and/or convictions of masterminds behind political matters. Importantly, the report highlights that the PKTT had undeniably achieved and far exceeded the purpose for which it was established, and that no other task team in South Africa had achieved the successes, nor has it been able to investigate and ensure successful prosecution of perpetrators of politically motivated matters, especially the masterminds.
Yes, you dealt with the significance of that strategy yesterday. And perhaps if I could just ask you, how does that differ with the ordinary conventional methods of investigating crimes, which is relevant to the notion of the successes that you are briefing the minister on?
Yeah, the difference is normally if you investigate a ordinary matter, you always have two people involved, one having killed the other. And normally it might end up there. Either they've been fighting or be it a road rage or whatever. So the investigation revolves just around two people. But with political killings, there is a lot of stakeholders that are involved. There is someone that wants to eliminate the other, and he will go far to find a hitman, and he will procure or find a firearm, and there will be sometimes people that will spot or track the victim, and eventually the hitman will do his work, and there will be payment. And sometimes the payment is not direct, it's via some other people back to the hitman. So that's how complex these cases are. And so it takes a team, not an individual, to investigate this type of cases. So it needs a lot of analysis that has to be done on various, be it cold data, be it ballistic. So it needs a teamwork to focus just on one case, it can take quite long. Hence, you might look at the figures of the numbers of convictions, maybe not being too much, but we are not just dealing here with a murder where two people fight, the other one kill the other. It requires a lot of dedication. It involves a lot of role players that are involved in the chain to this type of killings.
So when you are talking about a comparison, is it possible when one measures the aspect of success to compare these type of cases that PKTT is dealing with the ordinary matters that are investigated through the traditional methods of investigation?
It won't be, or let me say, it is not comparable because, as I said, normally an ordinary murder, one kill the other, you arrest. So the number of arrests, the number of firearms convicted, and the number of, be it ad hoc cases, is quite influential in this case of PKTT cases, in that on other investigations of ordinary murders, you don't deal with complexity normally. There will be very few areas to touch. So you cannot really compare the number of convictions by the PKTT to say if you have 4 in PKTT and you have 5 in other areas. You can't really compare because the magnitude of work is not the same, and the team is dealing with specific cases, whereas other investigation units are focused on the other cases. Yes, there might be murder, but they are not as sophisticated as this one. So it's not easy to compare the two.
One of the aspects that you touched on yesterday was that the PKTT gets deployed in instances where cases could not be resolved, or cases, to use your words of yesterday, where cases are not moving. If I can just ask you to explain that concept that you touched on yesterday.
Yeah, when I was saying where cases are not moving, I mean that the cases would have been allocated to general detective or a specialized unit. And we do not see any arrest or prosecution over time. Then when you bring the PKTT, then normally there would be a breakthrough. A good example is cases at Fort Hare University, where I did say that the Hawks were investigating, I'm sure for a year or so, dealing with corruption and fraud. And then there were killings that happened there which were done by general detectives from the province, but there were no arrests in those cases. But after we gave these cases to the PKTT, they were able to unravel what was happening there. And as normal as when we work with an institution like university, the entry point sometime will be the management of the university as well as the head of security of the institution. In that regard, there was a Mr. Plakis, who was security head or manager of that institution. So the team worked with him with a view to investigate this case, and they were close to him and they cooperated well. But over time, the very same team, they were staying with him, eating with him, doing everything. The very same team later, they found that actually he is the mastermind of these cases. And the team didn't hesitate to say, maybe we shared lunch with him yesterday. They arrested him, and they were able to unravel those cases and arrested quite a number of cases at the Fort Hare University. So when we say they can deal with cases that don't move, that's what we refer. Same in KZN. There were cases before investigated by the previous team to PKTT where there wasn't much of success. And when they took over those cases...
So you're talking about the disbanded?
Yes,
the task team.
The dissolved or disbanded task team. After the PKTT took over those cases, there has been a lot of arrests, recovery of firearms, and a number of convictions. Same you can look in Gauteng, when the team, the 10 members of the PKTT came to Gauteng to assist in the matter of Amaswart. They investigated that matter, and also coming to the issue of Ket Matlala, you'll recall that I said that a certain person came to me complaining about the relationship between Lieutenant General Sibiya and Ket Matlala, which I then gave that specific investigation to General Dumisani Kumalo on the kidnapping of Ejeribu Shura. It was that case that ended up unraveling what actually Ket Matlala was doing. It was that case that led to the search of his property on the 6th of December 2024, when there was also at the same time an operation to arrest KT Mulefe. So all these cases that unraveled out of this, out of Ket Matlala, it emanated from. That is a very, from the time I gave this work to Dumisani Kumalo to say, go and investigate, which I took it away from, I said, General Sibiya can't oversee it, so do investigate it. So it was that case that unraveled all others that involve him and end up culminating in the arrest of Ket Matlala for the attempted murder of his former girlfriend. You'd recall that if you go back somewhere, if we go back, the murder of Babita Diokoran.
Mr. Mudau,
Yes.
do we need this much detail? Your question was a simple one. What exactly are the methods? I don't think the General needs to go into this much detail if he's merely addressing the question of the methods that the PKTT was applying and which were not the same as what your conventional detectives would apply.
Yes.
Shouldn't we move on?
But,
Also, I'm raising this because it's repetitive.
thank you. Thank you, General. I think you've indicated the methods, how they work, and how different are they from the conventional methods. And General Kumalo will talk to one of the concepts that is loosely called the ownership of a docket in the conventional method or conventional investigation method versus how the concept of a docket and the absence of ownership in the PKTT model. Perhaps if you could just briefly deal with that. In terms of ameliorating the risk of bribery, extortion, etc.
Thanks, Commissioner. In that regard, I think I can go as far as to say What the team does is, in the traditional way of investigation, a docket is allocated to an investigator. And but how the team works is the docket is for the team. It's not for an individual investigator. So there is no room for corruption whatsoever, because everyone in the team, within the PKT, there are teams. So everyone in the team will know exactly where we are and where we are going. So there is no way you can do something untoward which the team don't want. That's how Sergeant Dlamini was caught in that way. So it's easy if you go off track on the way they work, they will be able to pick it up very quickly. Thank you.
Yes. I think let's just leave it at that. General Kumar, like I said, will deal with those details in his testimony. Then if I can ask you to proceed from paragraph 130 of your statement.
Insofar as the report had to include a write-up of the justification of the disbandment of the PKTT, it goes without saying that I could not justify the disbandment, and neither could Khumalo. My position has always been that PKTT had to remain. Therefore, in the report to the minister, we simply state that the directive of the minister to disband has been noted, and that the initial objective and the directive by the President has been achieved with noticeable decrease of political-related killings in KZN as a result of the PKTT's intervention and relentless pursuit of its mandate. This is the best we could do in the circumstances, since this was an instruction and not a discussion.
Yes, and then the paragraph that follows and its subparagraphs, you've dealt with, because you read it directly from the report itself. You'll see up until 131.8. And you also dealt, when you were reading from the report SFM 11, you also dealt with that recommendation, which is set out in paragraph 132, correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Right. If we can then move on to paragraph 133. If you can start from paragraph 133.
I had heard nothing further from the minister about the disbandment until the 4th of March 2025, when my office received an email from the minister's chief of staff, Mr. Ngabinde, inviting me to attend a ministerial meeting on the PKT disbandment implementation plan, which was scheduled for 6th of March 2025, 11:30 to 13:15 in Cape Town, in the office of the Provincial Commissioner's boardroom.
Yes. Then over the page.
Prior to this meeting, on the 5th of March, I appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Police for a briefing by SAPS, amongst others focusing on challenges relating to crime intelligence, an investigation against Major General Khan, the status of the PKTT, and details on an interview by the Provincial Commissioner of KZN during 2025 Police Day. The appearance was by way of virtual meeting platform. In attendance were, among others, myself, the Minister, Lieutenant General Mkonazi, Lieutenant General Dumisani Khumalo. During this session, Lieutenant General Mkonazi made an allegation that the minister knew a gentleman by the name of Brown Mokhodzi. This is but one of the allegations that was made by General Mukwaras at that meeting. Minister Mkhunu denied knowing a gentleman by the name of Brown Mokhozi. After the meeting, in a meeting where I was present together with Deputy Ministers Matale and Dr. Bushielo, and the minister repeated his denial regarding Brown Mokhozi to me and the two deputy ministers.
All right. Can I just ask you to, in relation to that meeting, tell the Commission whether after those revelations were made by General Mkhwanazi to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee, was there any process that was set up by the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee to deal with those allegations, coupled with the minister's denial, at least of this one allegation? You say there were more allegations or more revelations that were made. But the point is, did the Portfolio Committee act on these allegations? Did they set up a process, or what indication did they say or give by way of their intervention in addressing those, if any?
No, Commissioner. There wasn't any process that I know of, unless they did something alone as a committee. But what I'm aware of, there was nothing that was done by the committee.
Yes, I'm asking, as at the conclusion of that meeting, was there an indication perhaps to say the committee is going to set up a process to look into the allegations?
No.
On that day?
No, on that day, no. The meeting just ended. There was no such a way forward in terms of what the committee is going to do on those matters.
Mr. Mattel?
Yes.
Can we just take it one step back?
Yes.
General, how did it come about that you specifically appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee? We've heard from General Mkhwanazi how it came about that he appeared there. So I want to know about you specifically. Were you invited by the committee to appear, or did you request the committee that time be given for you to make a presentation? I just want clarity on that. How did it come about that on the day, 5 March 2025, you appeared before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Police?
There was an invite, Commissioner, for myself, the minister, and to attend the meeting with those topics that I read earlier. Those topics were on the invite, but there were quite a number of others. But we were invited to that meeting, all of us, myself, minister, and General Mkhwanazi.
And were you asked to address specifically the issue of the disbandment of the task team?
Yes, we were asked specifically. If I may go back to, let me see. Yeah, on the invite, the committee, as on page paragraph 134 of my statement, the committee want a briefing, among others, on the status of the PKTT and the work that they were doing. So we had to brief them on what PKTT is, where it comes from, what is it doing, and also the fact that for us, we are of the view that the team is doing a good work. So yes, they called us. Among the topics was to brief them on the PKTT status.
And did you address them on the minister's letter dated 31 December 2024?
Yes, the letter was one of the matters that we addressed in that meeting, and they engaged us, and they seem to have been happy with the status that was prevailing that time. There wasn't one of them, as far as I remember, that suggested that the team should continue or is doing a good work. No, we advised them, they were happy, and yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Madam.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. So, in respect of that status, when you say they were happy with the status that was prevailing at the time, what was the status at the time?
Well, some of them I wouldn't specifically know unless one goes to the recording of that day. I do remember that maybe one member or so that said, no, they agree with the minister that the team must disband. So that I can remember,
Yeah.
despite us showing them the work that the team was doing.
And was there any other view to the contrary that was expressed in respect of disbandment?
I don't remember. I don't remember any.
Yeah. All right. Let's go then to paragraph 135, where you deal with the meeting of 6 March.
Nothing. Sure, I would do honestly.